What's up? What's up? What's up? It's a rainy Tuesday night in the MIA, and it's another Dynasty Life Miami podcast. It's your boy B, chilling as always with the top dog, JP. What's up, my brother? Week 2 is in the books.
Yes, sir. Ready to go in on these games and let our listeners know what's up. Give them those gems, those diamonds in the rough, so you can go ahead and start getting those wins and that longevity to make the playoffs, because that's where it counts, baby.
Yeah, you got to start. We're going to do something a little different today rather than just, kind of going through every single game and everything that happened in the game. We talked about it. We figured, there's a lot of shows out there like that, and things kind of get lost in the shuffle. So we're going to try to be a little more specific, a little more tailor-made, and we're each going to pick a player from each team in the game, talk about it, anything we like, maybe a free agent that's a pickup waiver wire, a guy who looked good, a guy who looked bad, whatever the case may be, is going to be our choice. We're going to knock it out. So we got a lot of games to get through. But before that, as always, go follow us. Go hit us up at Dynasty Life Miami, all one word, at the YouTube page. Hit us up on Twitter, Dynasty Life MIA. And where can they find you, bro?
They can find me at Salazar305 on Twitter. And like you said, Dynasty Life MIA on YouTube. Follow us on all podcast streaming platforms. We're there, Dynasty Life Miami, all together. You already know, man. We're all over the place, man. Make sure you check out those segments I'll be dropping daily, man. Just in case you cannot get the full podcast, I break every little podcast up into little pieces. There's bits and pieces that might interest you, so you can get acquainted with us through there and get it popping, man. And just make sure you hit that subscribe button. Follow us on our social media, and we're gonna be dropping constant content all the time, man.
Yep, for sure, bro. For sure. JP's always cutting up the audio and dropping gems. So we appreciate the work you put in, bro, the hours you put in. And we're gonna jump right into it, man. We're gonna jump into that Thursday night game. We thought everybody thought it was gonna be a boring game, but I actually found it to be pretty entertaining. The Giants versus Washington. I'm gonna jump in really quick with the Giants. The guy I wanted to talk about more than anything was Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones looked really good out there for Daniel Jones. 95 yards rushing. He had Slayton drop the ball. This guy Kenny G was dropping balls. So, Daniel Jones is a nice little super flex QB2. My only concern is, and what I would say to some people is, if you're not contending, you may want to look at possibly looking to use this game as a trading possibility. I don't see it. They have a bad year. I can't see the Giants keeping Gettleman. I can't see them keeping this guy who keeps screwing up with that Kadarius Toney pick and all that. So if they let go of Gettleman, a new GM is going to come in, and they're probably not going to want to extend Daniel Jones. I think he's got 1 year left after this year, and he could be the next Mitchell Trubisky, the next Josh Rosen, a next one of those quarterbacks that just get that 1 year, that one contract in, and they become a backup somewhere. So he hasn't played good enough to keep being a starter if he doesn't get any better. So if you're not a believer and you're not 100%, use this game. 95-yard rushing. That's a lot of points for a quarterback on the ground. Use them and maybe try to flip them for something in super flex, a first round pick or a QB or running back.
I want to talk about a player that's clear cut the number one wide receiver, Sterling Shepard, man. That's 2 games in a row. He had 9 receptions, 94 yards, 10 targets. He led the team in targets again. So he's looking like the number one. No disrespect to Kenny Golladay or Darius Slayton, but this seems to be Daniel Jones's safety blanket, and I like what I'm seeing. And I to be honest with you, I have him in a couple of leagues, and he's doing it up for me. He's getting me points. As long as he can get me anywhere between that 15 to 25 range every week, man. Maybe 12 to maybe you want to lower it down to 12. I'm good with that. The only thing I don't like, and I don't mean to be talking about another player, is Saquon Barkley, bro. I don't know what they're doing with Barkley, but once again, he was a complete no-show. He had a good run. I don't even necessarily think it's him. I just think maybe the play calling. I don't know, man. What do you think, Ben? Well, where do you stand? I mean, I don't really have any shares of Saquon Barkley in 30 leagues, so
yeah,
that's where I can tell you about that.
Well, the run that you're talking about, if you saw, he didn't have his normal juice, bro, and he came up not limping, but you could tell that he was he had like a hitch in his step and his hitch in his get up. He didn't really hit those jets. And that's been Barkley his whole career, bro. Barkley his whole career has been hit a home run, and if not, 2 yards, 2 yards, 3 yards. He's always been a home run hitting type of back. If this injury has sapped a little bit of his speed or a little bit of his strength, that's going to take away what made him special. And to be honest, I always thought he was a little overrated as it was. I always thought he was. And we talked about it on the show before. This is not Eli Manning dumping the ball off. We just said it. Daniel Jones, 95 yards rushing. He led the team in rushing. What's he going to do? Dump it off to Saquon and maybe get 15, or is he going to take off and get his own 15 or maybe more? So if he's not getting those dump off passes and a shitty O-line, I'm off Barkley. He may have a couple good games coming up. He's a good running back. If he gets healthy, he's going to have some big games. And what I tell people is when he has those big games and people think that Barkley's back, sell Barkley, get everything you can for him, and move on. So
excellent point, bro. That's when you got to strike.
Right.
Brandon dropping gems.
Don't sell him.
No, absolutely not. You're going to have to go. You're going to have to sell low. You're going to have to sell low. And that's what you have to do. You have to wait for the perfect time to strike. Like Brandon said, wait for that game where he goes off and sell him right away.
Yeah, because there's people out there that think he's just he's one game away from being old Barkley, and maybe that's the case. But he's been injured 2 years in a row. I've never been that much of a fan, so that we're good with that guy. So let's move on. Let's move on to the Washington football team. I'll let you go first, man. Well, who do you want to talk about?
Man, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about J.D. McKissick, man, because we were talking about this guy previously, and when we had this whole Gibson discussion about the would you rather, he came up because he's a baller. He had 5 receptions for 83 yards. He had a reception for 56 yards. That was really impressive, and he took over at the end of the game. He was everywhere. He's not going anywhere. It seems like to me, since Taylor Heinicke's gonna be QB now, there's gonna be dump offs, and he's gonna get a lot of them. So his stock just took a rise as opposed to when Fitzpatrick was under center. It kind of went down a little bit, but now you can see the difference. They're using him a lot. He's good in the backfield, and they're not afraid to put him in the game for Gibson. So I just wanted to talk about that. This guy's definitely a flex plug-in. I love what I saw. He looks faster. He put on like maybe 15, 20 pounds in the off season. So he's running a little harder. And since he has Gibson in front of him, this is the perfect guy that if anything happens to Gibson, or you need somebody to place in your starting lineup towards the end of the year to win a championship, this guy can very well be that guy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of JD McKissick in all honesty, but I know that's someone that you like. For me, he's just one of those guys that in one game he can give you, I don't even know, what did he give you, guy, like 15, 20 points, 22 points with all those catches, and he got the touchdown. And in another game, like the first game, he can give you like 1 point because you never know, because his bread and butter is from the catching of the ball, and that really goes by the flow of the game. But in a best ball, or if you're in one of those deeper leagues when you're starting 11 players with multiple flexes, that's he's not a guy that I don't mind throwing in there in PPR at all, because like you said, when you're going that deep anyways in rosters and you're going that deep in starting lineups, the pickings are slim as it is, and you have a guy that he can bust, but he can also give you 20 points, and when you're going that deep, that's worth the gamble. So I don't have a problem with McKissick at all. On my end, I want to talk Tyler Heinicke. You mentioned him briefly there. He looked really good, dude. He looked really good. We talked about it on the show with last week when we talked about who's the number 1 waiver wire pickup in Superflex leagues, and I said Tyler Heinicke or Taylor Heinicke or whatever his name is, and he came out and he balled out, bro. I don't think Fitzpatrick could have done any better, in my opinion. And I said that this guy was one of the best backup QBs, and if he plays like this, Fitzpatrick is not going to get the job back. Okay, he's not going to get the job back, and it's going to be this is going to be his season to prove. And if he proves himself and they have a good record, guess what? That means they're not going to have a high pick to draft a quarterback. They're going to have a good quarterback in Heinicke. He loved to target Terry McLaurin. He hit him up. I mean, you used Terry McLaurin to beat me in the Dynasty Degenerates. You whipped my ass because freaking Tyler Heineke throwing Terry McLaurin the ball like crazy. So I like Tyler Heineke. I think he's a really good super flex QB to have, a QB2, a QB3, and he could become something more than that. So he's a guy that I grabbed everywhere I could, and you might still be able to get him cheaply with some people. You can reach out to someone, maybe trade a second round pick for him. It sounds like a lot, but a second round pick for a starting QB super flex is not a lot, especially when they're young like Heineke.
For us, at least, the number one waiver pickup in Superflex leagues. We had said it the show before, and he came and executed. And I think he's going to get better. And as far as McKissick, we're going to see if McKissick's the real deal next game. And if they incorporate him next game and he gets 2 games with at least double-digit points, I'm going to be happy. Because that's with Gibson on the field. And like I said, if anything happens to Gibson, he's going to get a lot of more of the load. I'm not saying that McKissick is going to take the complete load, but he's gonna get a little bit more. So he gets a bump up for me.
Yeah. Let's start the McKissick watch, bro. We'll see where we're at next week for sure.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're moving along. We're making good time. We're moving on to the Raiders and the Steelers. This was another good game. Another win by the Raiders that are 2-0, beating 2 good teams. I'm going to start off with the Raiders guy, and I'm going to talk about my boy Bryan Edwards, bro. You see the box score. You see 3 for 40, and it doesn't look very good. But if you watch the game, or you went back and you watched the tape, he had a touchdown that was called back. He had another big play with some yards that were called back. So this guy could easily had a 5 for 80 in a touchdown game. I think the breakout is still coming. And what I like about this guy's number at 3 for 40 is that there's some people out there that don't watch the games, that don't understand how games flow and penalties and how that can affect a guy's score. And so they're going to be down on Bryan Edwards. They're going to see the 3 for 40, and they're going to be down on him. And this is where you can scoop in, come in, and buy him cheap because he hasn't had a big breakout game. He came in with a dud in their eyes on this second one, 3 for 40. I'm not, you don't give away first round picks for guys like this. I'm not saying to do that, but you maybe trade away a second for Bryan Edwards, maybe, or even a second, and you get Bryan Edwards and something else back. I mean, those are deals that can be made. You can make deals like that all day. So that's kind of my thought process on Bryan Edwards.
Didn't he have a touchdown called back in the previous game as well? Didn't he catch one?
He caught a touchdown in the previous game.
Okay, so and he got this game was the one that he got one called back, correct?
Correct.
I got you. All right. No, I still like him. The only thing I don't like is that he only had 3 targets, but I mean.
Well, that's the thing. He caught 3 for 40, but he had more targets. They were nullified by penalty. So he had a big catch that came back and a touchdown that came back. So that's 2 more targets, 2 more receptions. So he could have been 5 for 80 with a touchdown without the penalty. So that was my point. Like, people see it, they see 3 targets and they think, oh, that's nothing, but he really got more than that.
No, yeah, that's totally and that's just to go with what you're saying. You have to watch the game in order to see these things. That's just the way the game flow goes sometimes. If you don't watch the games and you're just seeing the box score, it's not going to work like that. So that's why it's super important that you're sitting in front of the TV watching these games and not just the highlights, because you're going to miss a lot of these things. For me, it's Carr, man. For me, it's Carr. He looks great. 28 of 37, 75.7 completion percentage, 382 yards, 10.3 average, and 126.2 QBR rating. Where this guy was going in startups and superflex startups was insane for what he's been doing. If he keeps doing this, I just love the way that he's spreading the ball. He's giving the ball to everybody. Ruggs the third had 5 receptions. Waller had 5 receptions. Renfro had 5 receptions. Drake had 5 receptions. Edwards had 3 receptions. I like this. I like what I'm seeing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not really liking the way they've been drafting for the past couple of years, but I really like the confidence they're building up. I love the chemistry that Gruden has with Carr on the sideline as of before all the bickering and all this stuff. They look like they're on the same page. I really like this team. I think this team might be a sleeper, and I just like the way Carr's distributing the ball, and he's being super safe with the ball. He's not making airhead throws. He had no picks, and yeah, I just like what I'm seeing here right now. What do you think?
Well, I like the way he's playing. I'm concerned now with the injury. He's gonna have to have an MRI. I think it's his ankle. I think John Gruden said he should be okay, but he's questionable for the next game. And I think this is one of those seasons where it could be a special season. It really can, the way he's playing. But you miss a game or two, or you get out of that rhythm because of an injury, and it can. The season is too young. You still need to build a little bit more on top of it. If this comes in and throws that wrench, it could screw the whole timing up. That's my biggest concern right now. That would be catastrophic for him to miss a week or two, or to even be walking around there hobbled and can't really move around. And that's my biggest concern.
Well, I got 2 words for you, buddy. Marcus Mariota.
He's on IR, dude. He's on IR
too?
Yes,
wow.
It would be Nathan Peterman, dude.
Nathan Peterman?
Yeah, man.
Wow, dude.
Yes, dude. You see what I'm talking about? Like, it would go from.
No, because Marcus Mariota's had his flashes in that offense, so but you just dropped the bomb on me with that one.
I have Marcus Mariota everywhere, bro. Everywhere, just waiting for either Carr to go down or for him to get up. He's going to be a free agent next year, so I super like Marcus Mariota. But dude, he got injured in the week 1. They used him in a package. He injured his quad, and they put him on the IR for at least 3 weeks. Yeah,
that's crazy, man. So let's move on to Pittsburgh.
Let's go over to the Steelers, man. And the guy I want to talk about is Najee. He caught some passes. He got some passes. He got in the end zone. That's good. Like to see it, but he had a 2.8 yards per carry. I don't know if it's him. I don't know if it's the old line.
No, it's 3. He had 10 carries for 38 yards. So he had 3.8. Yeah, 3.8. Which is still subpar. I'm not even going to argue with you there. That's yours. So you're absolutely right.
It's either his vision, it's his speed hitting the inside, it's the O line, it's a combination of all those pieces. It's the team's not respecting Big Ben, who is not looking very good at all either. So again, Najee, as long as he's getting the reception work, it's going to keep him involved. But running, that O-line's not going to get fixed anytime soon, man. If we're talking Dynasty, we're talking long term. He came in a little bit older for a rookie as it is. And, it could be 2 years before we start to see this guy play behind a good O-line. And by then, we don't even know who the quarterback is. I'm just worried about this guy, worried about his career. I haven't been high on him for a while. This could be another guy that you got to be careful on. You don't want to be left holding the bag. If I had any Najee, and I'm thinking of being a rebuilding team, and you probably are if you had the 101 or 102 and you drafted him, I'd be scared that this is the guy I'm building my dynasty team around. In all honesty, because I'd be afraid I'll be here again in 2 years in the bottom of the barrel.
No, yeah, I absolutely agree. For where he was drafted, right now, at best, he's an RB3. At best, like he's not even an RB2 in my eyes, and that's because he's catching the ball. Because if it was just up to his running, it would not be. We wouldn't have anything to say about this guy. Nothing positive to say. Positive thing is that Big Ben is dumping the ball off to him a lot, so that's good for fantasy points. But in Pittsburgh, they don't like excuses for running backs not rushing the ball. So I don't know how long this guy lasts doing that. And like you said, that's a major concern if you're trying to build your rebuild around this guy. It really is. For me, I love what I'm seeing from Juju Smith-Schuster, man. He had 6 receptions for 41 yards, and they used him rushing. He had an end around for a rush where he scored a touchdown, which is great to see. So that means they're utilizing him in the run game as well. I haven't seen that much from Pittsburgh with Schuster, but this is great. Just the fact that he had 6 catches too, and he had 7 targets is fantastic. He's back in the mix of the offense. Hopefully, this is consistent. Like I said, this guy's still super young. Even if he doesn't pan out this year to his maximum capacity, he's only on a 1-year contract. So if he goes somewhere else with a dope quarterback, you got a dope receiver that's still young as hell somehow, some way. So yeah, I'm good with this game.
Yeah, me too, man. Let's move on. We're gonna go over to the 49ers and the Eagles. I'll let you start, man. What'd you see in the Niners?
So I was like, wow, But what I like to see is with Jimmy Garoppolo. He was 22 or 30, 189 yards, 6.3 average, 1 TD. just managing the game. What I didn't like to see, sorry that I'm mentioning another guy, is this Elijah Mitchell only had 42 yards on 17 carries. I didn't get to watch the games this week because I was on vacation, so I wasn't really paying attention to the game as much as I would love to like pay attention to him. But yeah, I don't know. The backfield for San Francisco right now is pretty banged up, and it looks like Elijah Mitchell's the guy.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? We know that Hasty got the high ankle sprain. He's out for a few weeks. Sermon has the concussion. He only, he was inactive week 1. He only got 1 carry in week 2, and that's when he got the concussion. Elijah Mitchell's banged up. He's dealing with a shoulder injury that took him in and out of the game. Which you didn't like we don't like the total yardage, but he did have a touchdown that was called back that Jimmy G ended up getting on the ground. So he did get the goal line work. He got all the carries like you mentioned. The only thing I'll mention is that there's a guy they signed. They just signed him off the practice squad of the Cincinnati Bengals. This guy, his name is Jaquiz Patrick, and the only reason I bring it up is because for them to sign him off the practice squad means that he has to be on the 53-man roster for at least 3 weeks. So that means he has to at least be active for the next 3 weeks. To me, that's important. That means they're gonna have to use a roster spot for him. They brought in Duke Johnson for a workout. They didn't sign him. They instead signed this guy. So he's a flyer out there. He's a free agent everywhere. I'm not picking him up everywhere, but I'm gonna throw a little bit here and there because again, everybody's banged up. They have to have this guy active for at least 3 weeks. He's going to be on the practice squad. He came over from the XFL. He's only 24 years old. Yeah, he played for the Tampa Bay Vipers. 60 carries, 254 yards, 2 touchdowns. He played for Florida State University. 45 games he played for them. He had 47 receptions in his career there, so he can catch the ball. So it's not like he's a scrub with handling the ball. So he's a little deep diver. Throw a couple bucks here and there. Don't go crazy. But we've seen crazier things in the 49ers in this kind of running back scheme. We've seen Orlando Anderson, all these running backs come out of nowhere, be one-hit wonders. Could he be that? Maybe, maybe not. 6'2", 231 pounds. He's something. And like I said, it's just interesting to me that he has to be available for at least the next 3 weeks. He can't be an inactive player. So see what happens.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see because they're all banged up, bro.
Yeah.
Who's your player on Safran?
No, that was the guy I was talking about. I talked about him.
That guy.
Yeah.
One little side note, bro. Debo Samuel again, 6 receptions, 93 yards, no touchdowns. So he's not touchdown dependent, putting up points. I just wanted to put that on the side note. All right, let's go on over to the Eagles. Who you got, bro?
All right, for me, the Eagles, man, Miles Sanders, bro, only 13 for 55 on the ground. He only had 1 target. We talked about this. I mean, the arrow is pointing down for Miles Sanders in my eyes. It's been down. I've been down on him all off season, here or there. But again, we talked about Jalen Hurts is not going to be throwing the ball, and if he is going to throw the ball to a running back, it's going to be Kenneth Gainwell. So Miles Sanders, not a guy I'm high on. He hasn't really popped in the NFL, a couple games here and there, but all these people drafted him in the 4th and 5th round. I didn't see it then, and I'm not seeing it now. If I can get out from under him, I am.
I liked what I saw last week, the way they were using him. They were doing that option fake, read, and it was working for him. I guess since they were down, they quit on the running game because at the end of the day, he did average 4.2 yards a carry. He only had 13 carries. Gainwell had 6 carries and he only averaged 2.3 yards. So I think Kenneth Gainwell's got a long road ahead of him before he even touches anything with Miles Sanders. I think San Francisco's got a nasty ass defense, and that's why we've seen that. The only player I want to talk about here is Jalen Hurts, playing a really good defense. He wasn't as accurate, 12 for 23, 190 yards. He got sacked twice. But let's talk about what he did on the ground. 10 carries, 82 yards, and a touchdown. See, this is what you want to see from a quarterback. He's still going to get you points. Didn't really have the best game, but he still got points, and that's what you want to see. He almost got 100 yards on the ground. So As far as I'm concerned, I want to see the next game. I want to see how consistent he is. He still distributed the ball. He only threw it. He didn't throw it that many times. He only threw it 23 times, but he did distribute it very, very well to everybody. Two to Quaz Watkins, two to Dallas Goedert, two to Gayden Gainwell, two to Devontae Smith, one to Ertz, two to Jalen Reagor. So he's distributing the ball. I just want to see some more of this.
Yeah, and they play the Cowboys next week. So if there's a game to get right, it's against the Cowboys.
I love it, bro. I super love it, bro. I can't wait to see that game. You already know.
Yeah. All right, let's go. We're gonna move on to the Texans and the Browns. For me, the guy I'm gonna talk about, Brandon Cooks. He takes a hit with Tyrod Taylor going down. That he's probably gonna be out at least for sure this week, maybe more. But I think Brandon Cooks has shown he could be QB proof, right? He's played with Tyrod Taylor. He's played with Jared Goff. He's played all over the league, and all he does is make plays. That's 2 weeks in a row now. He's getting tons of targets. He's the main guy. Nico Collins goes out for the next 3 weeks. They just put him on IR for his injury, so he's out for a couple of weeks. So he's going to be the guy. He's already been the guy, and they haven't been able to stop him anyways. While it's going to be the targets are going to be coming from Mills, who may or may not be a decent quarterback. You get 16, 17 targets. Even if they're bad targets, you're going to come down with the ball. You're going to get yards and even maybe squeaking a touchdown. He was a wide receiver 2 for me before this injury to Tyrod. I'm downgrading him a little bit to a high-end wide receiver 3. And if Mills can be decent, I'm putting Cooks right back into wide receiver 2 territory.
Okay, I like that. I was having Cooks having a career year, but this totally messes that up. I like what I was seeing from him. He was gelling with Taylor. It was awesome. And this happens, man. I feel so bad for Tyrod Taylor, man. Jesus, bro, he can't catch a break. But besides that, yeah, man, I love Cooks. I love what I'm seeing from Cooks. The running game for Texas is just one big whatever. We still don't know what's going on. I guess Mark Ingram led the team in carries, but he only averaged 2.9 yards a carry. So that's all there is to say about that. So why don't we move on over to the Browns?
All right, Brian. What about the Browns? Did you see?
Well, to be honest with you, there's not really much to talk about. Baker Mayfield injured his non-throwing shoulder. He came back from it. 19 for 21, 213 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Nick Chubb, I like what I saw from Nick Chubb. It wasn't a crazy game, but he won time and again. 11 carries, 95 yards. He only had 11 carries, and he got 95 yards and a touchdown. That's what you want to see in a player where his ADP is at. Even when the game's he's still gonna get you those points. Even when Kareem Hunt out carrying him 13 times, he still got more yards than Kareem Hunt. So I just wanted to say something about that. I like Nick Chubb a lot. I think this just and this is a running team, so this is a guy that you want to have. And if you guys can have the backfield, it's a must grab the backfield. I mean, Kareem Hunt. It's not that Kareem Hunt's such a thing, but it's just like I said, I've had them both starting, one in a flex spot, the other one in the RB1 spot, and I've won multiple weeks with these two guys. Other than that, I'm good, brother.
Yeah, for me, we just got to deal. We got Landry going down. Landry's going to be out for a couple weeks with a sprained MCL. Odell's supposed to be coming back next week. I'm not the biggest Odell fan, but with Landry out, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Higgins, nobody did anything. Schwartz, nobody did anything last week with Landry going out. So, I mean, more than likely, they're just going to they're going to funnel targets to Odell if he's playing. So he's, a lot of times if a guy's coming back from an injury, I don't want to throw him into my lineup. I want to see it first. But with Landry going down, this may be a risk you're willing to take. If you have Odell on your team and you're used to you've been waiting for him to come in, I'm not saying he's a wide receiver 1 or even a wide receiver 2, but if you can slide him into a flex or slide him into your wide receiver 3, so he doesn't hurt you if he bombs, he could pay dividends and blow up next week.
Yeah, that could be so, man. I totally agree with you. That could be a nice little diamond in the rough there.
All right, so we're gonna go on to the Broncos and the Jags. Only got to talk about here, man. Only got to talk about. I'll let you talk about your boy because I know you want to. So I'm just gonna talk about Teddy. 328 yards. 2 touchdowns. He's looking really good as the quarterback. I mean, those are the type of yardage and throws that we thought we needed Drew Lock to have. We thought, well, if we want Teddy, it's going to be safe and it's going to be, low yardage and safe throws. And we needed Lock for the big numbers, but it's not the case. Teddy is throwing the ball all over the place. Like I said, 328 and 2. He's making a star out of your boy Sutton. He's making Fant relevant. So I mean, they didn't even barely run the ball. I thought this was going to be a hardcore Melvin and Javonte game, but it wasn't. It was Teddy all the way. So he's looking like a really nice number 2 quarterback in Superflex leagues.
Yeah, he looks super comfortable in that offense. He's using his weapons, but yeah, I got to talk about my boy Cortland Sutton, man. Going off. 9 receptions, 159 yards, and he had a long for 55 yards on 12 targets. This is what I want to see. Obviously, he got the bump up last week with the bad news of Jerry Jeudy going down. That was terrible news. He's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. I don't think there's any structural damage to his ligaments, so he might be back just in time for a playoff push if they end up making the playoffs. So, but for right now, it's Cortland Sutton to the moon, baby.
Yeah, super high on Sutton, man. All he needed was a touchdown to blow the roof off the place. So it was a great game. And moving on, bro, to the Jags. Not a lot of talk about in that game, other than to me, Trevor Lawrence. He looks lost, bro. He looked lost. The team sucks around him. The coach sucks around him. He's not used to playing without premier talent around him. He's not used to losing, and I'm concerned that it's going to take a heavy toll on this guy mentally. If you're used to winning all the time, you almost come to expect it. All of a sudden, you're on the worst team and nothing's getting better. I could see his confidence getting shaken, bro. And I wasn't the biggest fan of his to begin with in the first place.
Yeah, Urban Meyer's destroying the team, bro. Pretty much. Nothing's running right. Last year they were bad, and at least James Robinson was balling, bro. Like James Robinson, 11 carries, 47 yards, and I'm super high on this guy. I love this guy to death, but Urban Meyer's fucking up the team, bro. And the only really person that I want to talk about, to be honest with you, man, is Marvin Jones, Jr., man. You called it. Bouncing around from team to team. Once again, the leader in targets, 11 targets, 6 receptions, 55 yards, 1 touchdown. If you can get this guy as an add-on in any trade, do it now. I repeat, if you can get this guy as an add-on in any trade, do it now.
It might be too late now. It might be too late. He's balled out 2 games in a row. So I don't. If people have him on their team,
No, the thing is that he's the only one balling on the team.
Yeah.
Dynasty-wise, fantasy-wise. So you're probably on the money with that too. He's the only one that's fantasy relevant right now on this team. Nobody else is doing anything. Yeah. So it's not looking good. It's not looking good. And now with this whole UCLA news, Urban Meyer's out, man. He's out.
Yeah, I don't think he's if he makes it through the season, I can't see him coming back. So unless they do a major turnaround. So yeah, there's nothing else to talk about with Jacksonville. They're gonna suck again this year.
Yeah, man, it sucks, bro.
Let's move on, bro. Let's go to the Saints and Panthers. I'll let you start off with the Saints.
The Saints and the Panthers. Well, I thought I was gonna see another shellacking from Jameis Winston, but he came down 11 to 22, and he had 2 interceptions. So could this be the resurgence of the old Winston? I don't know. I really don't know. There was nothing really else to talk about with this team. It was a very low offensive scoring game for the Saints. They only scored 7 points. It was a terrible outing for Jameis Winston. I mean, Kamara he's probably the most relevant guy, but he didn't have that many points either. It was bad.
It was real bad, man. And Winston was getting pressured all game long, man. He had no time to throw the ball. That O-line was getting pushed around, and it's not going to get easier. They play the Patriots next week, bro. So it's going to be a tough week next week. I don't see them bouncing back. Let's be honest, man. Winston just doesn't have any weapons, bro. Callaway has not been what he showed in the preseason at all.
Terrible.
And so
benching him.
And if that's your number one wide receiver is Callaway, I mean, you could be Drew Brees, and your team's gonna suck back there. It's rough. So I think it's gonna be a rough week next week against the Patriots. You saw what they did to Zach Wilson. I'm worried what they're gonna do to Jameis Winston, man.
Yeah.
So let's move on, bro, to the Panthers, dude. Only guy I want to talk about, just one guy I want to talk about is Sam Darnold, man.
Yep.
He's looking good, dude. And I think this is a case of finally getting away from Adam Gase. Another player leaves Adam Gase and all of a sudden looks better. I mean, he's not a world beater, but he's reminding me that he's reminding me of a good quarterback. He doesn't look horrible. The offense is moving. The offense is looking. It looks better than it did last year under Teddy. And Teddy made a lot of wide receivers relevant. I know they got CMC now, but it's gelling together. You can see they don't overuse CMC too much. Darnold doesn't mind throwing the ball. He's spreading it out. DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, CMC is getting his touches. I think they might have a good quarterback here in Sam Darnold. And if that defense keeps playing like it did against the Saints, they're gonna make some noise.
No, I love what I'm seeing from Darnold, and I just want to talk about DJ Moore. Finally getting that volume and getting those TDs, man. 8 receptions, 79 yards, and a touchdown, along a 20, and he led the team in targets. I wanted to say this because I'm really down on this guy. I've been really down on DJ Moore, but this is the DJ Moore that I wanted to see. He's probably what I would say the equivalent. I'm not trying to compare players, but he's the equivalent in that offense to what Jamison Crowder was in New York. He's gonna get the freaking work. I'm super happy that I didn't trade him away now, and he's balling. I love it. What do you got to say about it?
No, I think DJ Moore. This is the type of player that we're hoping to be. They're using DJ Moore this year like they used Robbie Anderson last year, and that was what the concern was, right? Robbie
Yep.
Anderson now they're using as the field stretcher, going down, getting the ball, and they're feeding DJ Moore the targets, like you said, similar to Jamison Crowder. Obviously, he's much better, light years ahead of Jamison Crowder as talent wise. So if you're feeding him like you would feed a Jamison Crowder in targets, and you got a talent like DJ Moore, and he can get in the end zone because that's his biggest issue is getting his touchdowns. He could he could have a huge year this year. So definitely, I'm happy to see DJ Moore playing like that.
Yeah, man. Just finally, bro. And I think he's in for a career year, man. I think he can either match his best year, or I think he can take off because if he's gonna get the yardage that he usually gets, which he always usually goes over 1,000 yards. But if he gets that TD output, oof, I'm loving
That's
it,
what
bro.
it is. That's what's always been missing is the touchdown output. So
Yes, sir.
definitely. All right, man. So we're gonna move on. We're gonna go on to the Rams and the Colts. The guy I want to talk about here, the guy I want to speak about is Cooper Kupp. Um, Dude, he is looking amazing, bro. Amazing. He's as long as he can stay healthy, this guy is going to be a top 5 wide receiver this year. As long as Stafford can stay healthy, he's going to be a top 5 wide receiver this year. I don't say this often. Go trade for him. I'm talking about go buy him high. I know a lot of times we talk about buy low, sell high, but sometimes even when you buy high, there's another highness after that you don't even know is coming. Not everybody's going to be 100% sold on Kupp. People are going to be, there's going to be some doubters out there. There are. Woods has always been the 1A in this group. Kupp has had some good games. He's had, big games, and he's fallen off. He's had some touchdowns without the yards. He's never been able to put it 100% together in one big year. The gut feeling that I see watching him play is he is going to put it together this year. And whatever you pay for him now, you could probably trade him away for double in 4 or 5 weeks. So to be honest, go and buy this guy high especially if you're a contender, because he's not that old. I think he's 28, and he's on Stafford. He's on a great offense with a great coach. Buy high, Cooper Kupp.
I agree with you, man. He's looking great. He's obviously Matthew Stafford's #1 target. I love it. I fucking love it, bro. I love to see Stafford balling like this. And little tip for you guys: Darrell Henderson is not looking like he's gonna start. For all you guys that went after Sony Michel, this is the game to start him right here. This next game coming up. That's all I gotta say about that team. I mean, he's balling, bro. I love what Stafford is doing, and I love what Cup is doing, bro. But I love Stafford. He's looking like a franchise quarterback should. Loving it, man.
All right. Well, if you're done there, why don't you tell us about the Colts, man? Who do you want to talk about over there?
Well, remember I told you about Jacob Eason? Now's the time and the place to bring him back up again because Carson Wentz has 2 sprained ankles, not one. So if you guys need a quarterback for the next couple of weeks, I think the bye weeks start the week after this one in the 4th week, if I'm not mistaken. He's probably going to start. I'm not going to tell you that I really like what I saw from him in the game when he came in. I didn't like what I saw from him, but this team looks like it's in shambles, my brother. Like I don't know what's going to happen with this team. I think it's everybody goes down on this team. Everybody takes a tumble on this team with Jacob Eason under the helm, man. I don't know. Well, from what I saw when he came into the game, I don't know if they're going to be able to run the ball effectively with Taylor. They're going to probably stack up the box. They're probably going to make this guy throw. Who's going to be his number one receiver? I'm going to just stay with Zach Pascal because he seems the one. He seems to be the one that gels with everybody. But other than that, I'm done with the Colts. I'm really concerned about them.
Well, it's horrible, right? But it's not like Wentz was playing all that good either. So, I mean, how much of a downgrade can it be? So we'll see what happens there. For me, this is a buying window for Jonathan Taylor. He is leading the league in red zone carries, but he has 0 touchdowns. 0. 3 rushes up the middle, getting stuffed 3 times. I don't put that on Jonathan Taylor. I put that on horrible play calling. This guy melted faces in the combine. He has a 4.38 40-yard dash. Why are you not doing sweeps to the outside where he can run past the linebacker, get a block, pull the guard, pull Quentin Nelson, and pull the guard and get this guy in space? I'm hoping the coaches wake the fuck up and do some better play calling. But again, Jonathan Taylor to me is a buy. He hasn't scored a touchdown, but he's getting touches. He's getting work. All right, and that's what we need from running backs. We need them to get touches. To me, that just means the touchdowns are going to come in bunches because this guy's not going to score 4 touchdowns this year. All right, he's not going to score 6 touchdowns. So if he's had 2 games with 0, that means a blow-up game is coming soon. And once that blow-up game comes, once again, he's going to be unaffordable. If you can, go out and buy. And there's a dip right now. There is a dip on Jonathan Taylor. Go out and buy the dip.
There you heard it. Do it. You heard it here first, folks.
All right. Let's go, man. We're going to go to the Bills and the Dolphins. Start off with the Bills. Overall, for me, I'm not going to touch on anybody particular. Just the Bills, I know they shellacked the Dolphins. Like, they whooped our ass. But they still didn't look right to me. They just look like they're not in sync yet, which I think is scary for the league. If you can put up 34, 35 points and not be in sync, Lord help them. Lord help them when they get in sync. Josh Allen is not looking as pinpoint accurate as he did before. Diggs hasn't got the yards. So for me, they just don't look in sync yet. It could be a lack of preseason work, and they're still working the kinks out. I'm still super high on this offense. So if anybody's concerned anywhere, feel out your league mates. Is anybody worried about Diggs? Is anybody worried about Josh Allen? Is anybody worried about Beasley? Like, just feel them out because all of them could be good buys, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're looking a little off. They'll probably get it. They'll probably get it in the next couple of games. They'll probably hit it in all cylinders. The Dolphins doesn't have a bad defense. Remember, they got good corners, man. We got some of the best corners in the league. That could have had something to do with it. Stephon Diggs doing his thing, but he's not. Nobody's really taking off here. But it seems to be like Cole Beasley still his number 3, bro. I didn't really see anything much else to say about it. He was really off. Josh Allen, he was only 17 for 33. So hopefully we'll see a better outing next week. And from the Dolphins, well, there you go, bro. Tua Tagovailoa down, bruised ribs. So I think Jacoby Brissett's gonna be the guy coming in.
Yeah, and I don't even care, bro. To be honest with you, I mean, I don't even care, bro. I don't like watching Tua play football. Does that make me a bad guy? Everyone
No,
keeps
bro.
telling. I listen to the radio down here in Miami, as y'all know by now. We live in Miami. I don't listen to sports radio talk down here. I'm always listening to podcasts, things like that. But whenever I do, I just hear them pumping this guy up on every fucking channel. Oh, it's the old like Tua does not look good. I haven't he never looked. He hasn't looked good in a Dolphins uniform. Even when he has good games, looks like there's something off. So I don't even care. I don't even. Jacoby didn't look good either. But I don't. These people saying it's a major downgrade. It's not a major downgrade to me. It's almost like the same motherfucker.
To be honest with you, I think it's kind of an upgrade, in my opinion. Jacoby Brissett comes from the New England Patriots, so he knows how to run that offense probably way better than Tua does. And he's probably going to be a lot more efficient, and he's going to look a lot smoother in that offense than Tua does. The only thing that he doesn't have any legs. He's a statue. But I think it's an upgrade because the guy knows the offense. He knows the offense very well. It's all a matter of that bad O line, how good they can protect him. That's what it really is.
And
At the
that's
end
just
of
the
the day.
Dolphins again, bro. Horrible O line, like the story for the past 20 years of our life, though.
So
So
but at the end of the day, to come and look, I mean, Waddle's doing his thing. He had a lot of, he had catches. He led the team in catches. He had 6 catches for 48 yards, and he had 8 targets. The only person that had more targets than him was Parker. So at least they're using him like a first round draft pick, man. I can't get mad at that. But that O line looks terrible, bro.
yeah, and if you're Waddle and your name to the game is speed, the fact that you're turning 6 catches into 40 something yards, bro, doesn't make me happy either. In all honesty,
Oh
but
yeah. I feel where you're coming from there
it,
for sure.
it is what it is. What it is. There. So there's enough of that game. Dolphins got their ass kicked. There's nothing else to say. And let's go to another ass kicking, bro. The Patriots and the Jets. I'll let you go first with the Patriots, man.
The Patriots, my dude. They destroyed the Jets. They're looking, Mac Jones managing the game very well. He didn't really have a touchdown, but he didn't really have an interception, and he went 22 of 30 for 186 yards. And that's what I said. He wasn't going to have the best arm in the world. He wasn't going to have any superstar talents to run this offense, and he ran it. They scored 25 points without him throwing a touchdown. So that's all Bill wants this guy to do. Damien Harris, 16 carries, 62 yards, and a touchdown. That's what I want to talk about here. Damien Harris. You called it, bro. You were talking about this guy. You've been talking this guy up all off season, and kudos to you, my man.
Ramondre Stevenson inactive. You
Yep.
know it when they apparently they did not like his fumble and they didn't mind Damien Harris and they benched Ramondre Stevenson and they made JJ Taylor active. I mean James White was super involved in the game, but if there's no Ramondre, that's going to be a Damien Harris game. So I think he cemented it. He had a nasty run against the Jets. I mean, to be honest, there's no one else really to talk about on the Patriots other than Damien Harris. So I think it was a great game by him. It doesn't sound like a lot, but they were just slow playing that game the whole game, and they didn't really have to do much because the defense was just shellacking the Jets. Going over the Jets, the guy I want to talk about, Corey Davis. Look, he got the 2 touchdowns in week 1, 94 yards, I think. This week was not a good week for him. But you got to remember this is what Bill Belichick does. He looks at a team and he takes away their best weapon, right? And that's what he did. He went and he schemed and he took away Corey Davis. So the fact that he noted that Corey Davis is the best player or the best weapon for this team, and he's gonna let Braxton Berrios catch the ball or whatever. That just goes to show Corey Davis is a real weapon. I'm not worried about it. It's the Jets. It's the Jets versus the Patriots. The Patriots got a really good defense. Write this one off. I'm putting Corey Davis right back in my lineup again as a wide receiver 3 next week.
No, I didn't start him. I don't really like starting, like people in like Corey Davis's tier per se against the Patriots. Secondary. They're really good. They're gonna probably shut your wide receiver down, even if he's the best wide receiver on the team, which is Corey Davis is on the Jets right now. They're gonna shut him down. I benched him in 75% of the leagues that I have him in, and I'm glad that I did because I got a better output of the player I put in for him. So that was kudos for me. But yeah, you want to kind of stay away like from this Patriots like secondary. They're really, really good. And as far as the Jets, for me, all I got to talk about, Ty Johnson, 12 carries, 50 yards, slowly creeping. Michael Carter had 11 carries for 60 yards. So it looks like it's going to be a timeshare. But Ty Johnson, they keep feeding him more and more and more every week. So stay on the lookout. This is gonna be like a tight comp for the lead back role here with the Jets.
Yeah, I mean, we're best case scenario. These two running backs, Carter and Johnson, have completely outpaced Tevin Coleman, and they have made it a two-man backfield. That has to be your hope. That Tevin Coleman's been left in the dust. They saw Carter; he looked electric. Ty Johnson, he's the battering ram, and he's got his moves too. And if they can just whittle it down to these two running backs, we can start to see some usable weeks from these people.
Yeah, hopefully, bro. You ain't lying, bro.
All right, let's go. We're flying, bro. We're flying. The next game, Bengals and the Bears. For me, the Bengals, Mixon had a down game. That's the guy I want to talk about after his awesome week 1 performance. I'm not down on him, bro. This is a problem. Not every game from everybody's going to be the best game of their life. You know, we have to understand that we have to follow the volume. He got 20 carries, okay? Back when last year, we were dying for them to give this guy 20 carries more often. They gave him the workload. He's going to be fine. Again, he can't be 150 yards and a touchdown every game. You know what I mean? That those people would, if that was happening for every player, everybody would be breaking records all over the place. I think he got 60-something yards on 20 carries. Not the best yard per carry, but again, it's against the Bears defense. The game was slowed down a bit, and once the Bears were intercepting Burrow left and right, Mixon couldn't really get much more going. So I'm not, to those who are freaking out over Mixon, don't worry about it. And if someone in your league, again, for me, the theme of what I wanted to do coming into the show, the theme of the show for me was, where can we exploit the weaknesses of your league mates? If you see people freaking out over a player on week 2 that there's no reason to freak out of, buy low. Buy low, buy low.
I thought I was going to see a better showing from the Bengals. I thought I was going to see this offense rolling on high cylinders, but I do want to talk about these. T. Higgins led the team in targets. He had 6 receptions for 60 yards, a touchdown on 10 targets. Leading Jamar Chase, that had 4 targets, and Tyler Boyd with 9 targets. It's great to see Tyler Boyd back in the mix. And that's all I got to say about that, my brother.
Yeah. All right, let's go on to the Bears, man. What do you got to talk about?
Finally, Justin Fields, bro. This is what it took to see my boy in the game. Andy Dalton went down with a knee injury. It doesn't look like he's going to probably, heal up by next week. So it looks like Justin Fields is going to get his first start. I'm super happy about it. That's about it, man, on my end, man. That's my player for this team, man. I cannot wait to see that game next week, bro.
Well, yeah, my concern, right, is I want to see some more from Allen Robinson. I mean, we keep saying, like, he's played with horrible quarterbacks. I mean, does this mean Andy Dalton is the worst quarterback he's ever played with? Because he had a touchdown, good, but that was it, man. He also dropped the touchdown. I'm a little concerned with Allen Robinson. I'm concerned as much as like Fields. I'm concerned having a rookie quarterback back there as well. As he grows his growing pains, I have a lot of Allen Robinson everywhere. So we got to hope that he gets a connection quick with Fields, because Andy Dalton is not getting it done for him at all.
Oh, it's not happening with Andy Dalton, but I think Fields' ability to scramble out of the pocket and roll out of the pocket is going to give these guys like Darnell Mooney, Allen Robinson, and Marquise Goodwin time to get open on broken plays. It's going to create a whole different outlook for that offense. I think that it's a bump up for everybody just because Justin Fields under center.
Yep. We just got to hope, because they're saying they did an MRI on Andy Dalton's knee, came back as a bone bruise, no major injuries. Matt Nagy, being the douchebag that he is, came out and said, as soon as if Andy Dalton is healthy, he is the starter. So, what we have to hope, the only hope is Andy Dalton misses a game. Justin Fields looks too good in that game, and they can't sit him for Dalton. But if Fields struggles even a little bit, and he doesn't, I mean, for real, he has to come out like gangbusters. and because if he doesn't, Andy Dalton gets better. The next game, Matt Nagy's going to sit Justin Fields and play Dalton. It's going to happen. So I mean, we need Fields to have a big game to keep it going.
Yeah. Hopefully he does, man. I mean, it doesn't take much to be better than Dalton, bro.
Yeah, but I mean that's the problem. Matt Nagy's an idiot, so you can't do nothing about that, bro. All right, let's move on, bro. We're going on to the Falcons and the Bucks. Horrible game for the Falcons. Horrible game. The only guy I want to talk about with the Falcons is I was wrong on Wayne Gallman. Completely wrong. The running back to own is Cordell Patterson.
Yep.
He's looking really good, man. He's looking really good. They used him in the red zone more than they used Mike Davis. Don't get me wrong. Mike Davis was the better runner, but Cordell Patterson, 2 touchdowns. He's catching the ball. If they're going to use him like this every week, he's a must-add. A must-add everywhere. Some leagues, they already have him. Some leagues already have him with the availability of playing running back and wide receiver, so you get dual eligibility. That's very cool. So keep an eye on that because if he's out there and they're gonna use him like this, I'm picking him up everywhere.
Yeah, he's definitely a must-add. He's getting 7 carries and 11 yards and a touchdown in this game with five catches, 58 yards, and another touchdown. You have on 6 targets. You have to add this guy. That's pretty much it. I like to see Kyle Pitts being involved, and I like to see Calvin Ridley finally catching a touchdown and being a little bit more relevant on Dynasty world and the fantasy world.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the Bucks, man. What do you got to say?
Bro, bench Ronald Jones. See, he's not the one, bro. Forget whatever Bruce Arians is saying. Bruce Arians labeled this guy the starter for this game. He got 6 carries and 27 yards. Don't fall for the bullshit. It is a trap. Ronald Jones is not going to do shit. Brandon said it last week. He's off the train. So am I officially. And that's all I got to say about that.
All right, man. For me, bro, it's Tom Brady and it's Gronk, man. I think I said last week I didn't think that maybe that was Gronk's best game. I'm saying fuck that shit. I'm off the Ronald Jones train and I am on the Gronk tight end top 5 tight end train this year. If I'm a contender, I'm gonna go out and buy him. He's the perfect person to buy. If you're buying it from someone that is not a contender, Gronk is older. It's not like he runs that fluid. You could tell he's beat up. You could tell he might not play again after this year. This might be his last year. If they win another Super Bowl, he might not play again. Maybe he plays one more, but you can tell that he just doesn't run with that same flow, with the same smoothness. But he's a beast, and him and this guy Brady have a mind meld going on. This guy could score. I mean, I don't even know how many touchdowns he could score. He already
has 4.
He has 4 already, dude. So I mean, 15 touchdowns is not out of the realm of possibility. If you're a tight end catching 15 touchdowns, you could very well be almost a tight end 1. So if you're a contender and the Gronk is sitting out there on a team that is not contending, go overpay. Not a lot. Don't get me wrong, because again, Gronk is older. He's not gonna last, but dude, he's a guy you want on your team. Throw him on there and ride the wave this year.
No, you have to go for it. You have to go for it. He's looking great. He's going to get the ball. He's going to score a touchdown. He already has 4 in 2 weeks. There's nothing else that needs to be said about this at all.
All right. Let's move on to the Vikings and Cardinals, bro. What a game. An amazing game, a shootout. I made some money on this game in the DFS and some DFS lineups that I played. I listened to you. I used Osborne in my 1.5 box there where I got even extra points. I'm sure that's who you want to talk about, bro. So unless I'm wrong, come on, spread the love, man. What's up? What do we do with KJ Osborne?
I told you to pick this guy up. He looks great. Cousins likes him. Let's talk about Cousins as well. He's a value, man. Weren't we talking about that Kirk Cousins is a value? What is there not to like about him? He threw 2 touchdowns, 244 yards, super efficient, 22 or 32. KJ Osborne, beautiful stash. This guy, I have him in almost every league that I play in. I try to pick him up everywhere. And I'm happy that I did because I think that he's the number 3. And with everything they got going on there, just the way that Cousins is gelling with him 2 games in and what he cost you probably nothing, this is a big win. I love saying I called it. This guy is just another week. Would he do it again next week? Three times is the charm for me, but I'm on the train, bro.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget he's the third wide receiver. He's not gonna be balling out every week. The odds are against it. But he's the guy he should not be on the waiver wire. He should not, especially with bye weeks coming. Okay, if your team is fully healthy and you're rolling along, of course you're probably not putting KJ Osborne in your lineup. But injuries are starting to pile up. Bye weeks are coming. He is definitely 100% going to be a usable piece. Okay, if you had Callaway, drop Callaway, get Osborne. Okay, it's that simple. If Gallup was on your team and he got injured, you should not put Gallup on the IR and grab Osborne. These are like the mini moves, some of production for you, especially with bye weeks and injuries. So definitely, I'm on the Osborne train, and let's go on over to the Cardinals, man. 2 guys I would love to talk about, but I'm gonna stick with a guy who I talked about a lot in the offseason, and that was Chase Edmonds. Talked about him all over the place. He is super outproducing James Conner. James Conner's running with no juice, no power, no enthusiasm. Chase Edmonds looks bigger out there than I've seen him in the past couple of years. He fits this offense perfectly. He has the ability to catch the ball like a wide receiver, okay? And again, there's nobody after them they're gonna fight for targets. If and when Connor goes down, Edmonds is gonna eat even more. I have Edmonds everywhere, and I'm happy that I do, man. And again, he's 25, 26 years old. He's only there for 1 more year before he's gonna be a free agent. I don't think this is a long-term play, but I would rather have Chase Edmonds than Myles Gaskin. I would rather have Chase Edmonds than quite a number of these running backs that people have been touting and saying go get. So super happy Chase Edmonds. If you can go buy him still, again, since he's probably going to be a 1-year rental, if he's not on a contender, put him on your squad, make him a contender.
Yeah, man, I agree. We talked about this guy being a menace with the number 1 running back being on the field. He's doing it again this year. John Connor completely getting outshined by this guy. Obviously, he has a little bit of an edge over John Connor. He's been there for quite a few years. He knows the system better, but still, he just looks like the clear-cut better guy. Who I'm going to talk about is the rookie, Rondelle Moore. 7 receptions, 114 yards, and a touchdown with a 77 being the long of the touchdown on 8 targets. This is what you want to see from a guy that you picked up in the 2nd round of the rookie draft right here. Outshining a lot of people that got picked up in the 1st. I like this. I like how this kid's they're throwing him and they're jetting him into the offense little by little. And I just want to talk about Christian Kirk. That was a 1st week dud. Don't go start this guy in your lineup. He's not gonna do what he did in the 1st week again. I felt a certain type of way when I didn't start up on my lineup, but when I saw what he did this week, he got the ball, but there's just too. I just like don't think that he has the consistency, and there's just too many mouths to feed for him to be putting out 2 touchdown weeks or putting down a touchdown every week with this offense. So do not go crazy. If you don't have anybody else, yeah, you go ahead and start him. But if you have a viable person to start, that's gonna get you points for sure. Don't go ahead and start him, or don't go ahead and start Christian Kirk over this guy because you're gonna be disappointed.
Yeah, for me, I love I love Rondelle Moore, bro. We were talking him up, he's freaking 5'6", squat 600 pounds. He's a beast, man. And this is another guy. Go buy high. He's gonna get only better, bro. Only better. They're using him to perfection. You can't find me another player that a coach is using him exactly and perfectly how he is meant to be used. This guy, if you keep using him like this, especially with DeAndre Hopkins taking over taking over the number 1 corner and the safety sliding over there to protect against him, this guy's moves, his shiftiness, his quickness, his route running ability, and with Kyler Murray running around in the backfield, who's freezing defensive backs and defensive players because they don't know where he's gonna go. Rondelle Moore using that freeze to sneak into the zone or to take off it's going to be lights out. This guy's going to be an exciting player. And again, buy high. Go. Someone got him for a second. Offer a first plus. To me, he's worth a first plus something else, dude. Like, if you can get him for that, go ahead and get him. He's going to have his down games because he is a rookie, but this is Dynasty, okay? And he's only going to get better in my eyes. So I'd rather take the gamble or roll the dice and get a guy who's shown that he's a baller.
Yeah, you just dropped the knowledge on him, letting him know every reason why. I just love the way that they're using him. They're gonna run the ball with him. They're gonna pass him the ball, and like you said, with DeAndre Hopkins there, that's a major glitch for the defense. Any defense is gonna be focused on that one guy, which gives this guy room to operate, which is where he's good at doing. So I agree with you 100%, my brother.
All right, man. Let's move on. We're gonna move on to the Titans and the Seahawks. You know who I'm going to talk about here, bro? I'm going to talk about Julio Jones, man. Bounce back game for Julio Jones. I don't know if you saw any of that game or the highlights. He got robbed of a touchdown, okay? So he went 6 for 128. It should have been 1 for 134 and a touchdown. 7 for 134 and a touchdown. He was balling out. Even with Tannehill not playing that good, he still balled out. This is why I was saying to buy Julio Jones. This is why I was telling you I was not worried about week 1, and we both said throw it out in the trash. Julio Jones, I know this was a Derrick Henry game. I get it. He blew everybody out. I had him. I loved it, but I'm excited because Julio was a guy that I really bought everywhere, and I'm so happy to see him showing everybody and showing me exactly what we're going to be looking for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I like that. I just want to see this offense rolling on all cylinders. They still look stagnant in some places, even though Derrick Henry had a hell of a game. But I'm talking about the passing game. I want to see more distribution from Tannehill. I thought Tannehill was going to be way better than this at this point, but there's still lots of time left in the season. Let's move on.
All right, well, yeah, let's move on to the Seahawks, man. Any takeaway? How about you? Any takeaway from the Seahawks game?
Well, kudos to you. You just traded for Chris Carson. He scored 2 touchdowns. He's a must grab if you're contending and let's say you're going to if you're doing a repeat like Brandon, and you're going to contend. This is the guy. This is the type of guy that you want to go after. He's a hard runner, and like I said, if you're contending for a title, grab him. If you're not contending for a title, flip him to somebody who is.
Yeah, definitely. And the only other thing I'll say is it looks like Alex Collins is going to be the major backup over there. He had 1 carry, but it went for 25 yards. I did trade for Chris Carson, but even so, I'm always a little worried because that guy can get nicked up quick. Penny's down. Alex Collins is still out there on the waiver wires, bro. DJ Dallas is not going to carry the load. All right, if something happens to Chris Carson, it's gonna be Alex Collins. So
yeah, he knows that offense. Sorry to cut you off, my brother. He knows that offense good too. He's been there for a while, so he's definitely got the edge on everybody. I agree with you.
So grab him now before something happens, God forbid, to Chris Carson, and he becomes an expensive waiver wire ad. Now you could grab him for free instead. So that's all I got to say about that. Let's move on. We got 2 games to go. The next one, Cowboys and Chargers. This was supposed to be a high-flying, super-scoring game. It did not turn out like that at all. The Cowboys and Chargers. Why don't you start first, man? What did you see with the Cowboys?
Well, the Cowboys, I thought they were going to do a lot better. I'm with you, bro. I thought they were going to do a lot better. Bro, our boy Tony Pollard, though. What's up? Huh? Outscoring Zeke, outperforming Zeke. I love to see that from him. I did think, like you and a lot of other people, that this was going to be a high-flying game. It wasn't. Dak Prescott didn't even throw a touchdown in the game. He had a pick, but they got the job done. It's good to see CeeDee Lamb, 8 receptions, 81 yards on 9 targets. I just love to see that, man. I love to see that. And other than that, I would have loved to see, Dak Prescott play a little better, but that's all I have to say about the Cowboys.
Yeah, Tony Pollard blew up. Zeke, 4.4 yards per carry, 71 yards on the ground. He got a touchdown. He caught 2 receptions. So Zeke is not dead yet. It's good, but it's a lot. It's going to be a lot more 1A, 1B than a lot of people thought. So Tony Pollard if you got him late in your drafts, like we talked about, we did a lot of would you rather's. We talked about grabbing these guys at the end of your drafts. That's why you did it, because now you don't even need a Zeke injury. Tony Pollard is already going right now. So
Yes,
that's
sir.
good. That's good to see right there.
Absolutely, man. You gotta tune in and listen to us. We got them gems.
All right, so next one, bro. The Chargers. I'm gonna talk Austin Eckler, man. What did we say? 0 catches the first game, 9 receptions the second game, and 9 receptions in the game. So 9 for 61 in the air, 9 for 54 on the ground in a PPR league. That's money. We knew they were not going to keep him down for long. So I just like seeing Austin Eckler out there playing. He had that really nasty hit to the head. Thought it was a concussion. They took him in the blue tent. I thought, oh, fuck, here we go. But, dude, he went right back out there and was playing again, man. So, Austin Eckler, baby.
Yeah, man. I want to talk about Mike Williams, bro. Another game, 7 receptions, 91 yards, a touchdown, 10 targets. He's looking like the number one here. It looks like him and Keenan Allen switched places here. I'm pretty sure Keenan Allen's getting the better coverage, but it's only a matter of time before the defenses switch up too. With the way Mike Williams has been playing, man. If he can stay healthy, this guy's kicking ass right now. And bro, I think Justin Herbert might be entering a sophomore slump. I mean, he's hitting the yards. His percentage isn't bad, but he got 2 picks and 1 touchdown. I think he had a pick or 2 picks last week too. So I don't know, man. I don't know.
I know. I mean, I hear everybody on Twitter, Herbert's the next big thing. And I think he's a great quarterback. I mean, he's not even looking at the box scores, just watching him play. He's missing some coverages. You can see that he's not reading it exactly like you want him to read it. So again, don't forget it's a new offense. They fired the coach last year. He was a rookie QB, so he's got to learn 2 offenses in 2 back-to-back years. So we got to give him a pass. We got to give these young quarterbacks a pass. He's got the talent. So, but I definitely hope to see more. He's got to be putting up more than 17 points with those type of players that he's surrounded by.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you, bro.
All right, last game of the night, man. We're gonna hit it up with the Chiefs and the Ravens. I'm gonna start off, bro. I tweeted out on Monday night or Sunday night, man. The Chiefs, bro. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, man. I had a lot of high hopes for him. I'm really concerned. Like, I'm starting to get super concerned. He's losing goal line work. He's not getting the passes. He lost a fumble. Now, this is the only fumble he's fumbled in his career as a pro. So it's not like he's got fumbling issues. My only saving grace, I saw somebody mention this on Twitter, and it made me think a little bit after, and I can't remember the person, or I would give him credit. We got to remember that Clyde Edwards-Helaire had an ankle injury in preseason. They called it a grade 1 ankle injury, ankle sprain. Those usually take about 4 to 5 weeks to fully heal. He's moving a little slower. He doesn't have as much burst, and he was never a fast or bursty guy, but he moved better than this, and he was moving better than this last year and in the preseason. So the only hope that I have right now, is that he's still dealing with that ankle injury, and we can see a little bit more as the weeks go on. It starts to heal up. I'm not optimistic, but there's not a lot you can do right now. You can't sell him right now. You're not going to get anything for him. So you got to hope that it's the ankle injury, that he bounces back. And if you're not a believer, even with the bounce back, you use that time to try to sell him. But right now, it's tough to put him in your lineup, man. It really is. It is.
Oh, it's terrible, man. That's what happens when you when you make a draft pick on a player that your QB is lobbying for. Mahomes lobbied for this guy. That's why he got picked ahead of Swift and Jonathan Taylor. Can you imagine Swift in this team? I think it was a bonehead pick.
Well, to be honest, I hear a lot of people say that, dude. But I don't believe it's 100% Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They just don't use the running back. They don't use the running back in this offense. This new offense that they have, it runs through Mahomes, and we see it. It's Kelsey and it's Tyreek Hill. And Mahomes he's not a running quarterback. like Jalen Hurts or Lamar Jackson, but he's not looking to dump it off to his running backs. He's not trying to get a 10-yard gain. He's always looking downfield. He just flicks that wrist and he puts it in between two defenders right on the dime. And when you can do that with your arm, when you can throw the ball anywhere all over the field, you're not looking to dump it off to your running back for 10 yards, even if it's DeAndre Swift, even if it's Jonathan Taylor. So, I mean, I know that some of these issues are Clyde, but again, I don't know how different it would be if it was a different running back because they just don't use them in this offense.
Yeah, that could be. That's a very interesting point. That could be a major point too, and a major reason why that's just going on. But yeah, it's hard to start this guy in your lineup right now. It really is.
Yeah, it's hard, especially if you drafted him where you did. You might not have a lot of other options, bro. So you're stuck rolling him out there, and it's painful.
Yeah, bro, super painful.
All right, and anybody on your mind for the Chiefs, or you want to jump to the Ravens, or?
No. I to be honest with you, I want to jump to the Ravens. I want to talk about Marquis Brown, bro. 10 targets, 6 receptions, 113 yards and a touchdown again for the second week in a row. For me, clear-cut number 1 wide receiver. If he can stay healthy, it's a big if, but if he can stay healthy, because he was already didn't practice a couple of days last week because of an ankle injury. He's very fragile, but if he managed to play, he's looking really, really good.
Yeah, Marquis Brown is who we wish Mecole Hardman would be, right? Like that's what you wish he would do. That speedy receiver that would go up, get the ball, and score. I mean, if you look to last year, the last 6 or 8 weeks of the year last year, he was the number 8 wide receiver. Marquis Brown. So he has the talent. He was a first-round pick, but he's very small, bro. So he gets banged up real easy. But he's the best one that they got. So, until Bateman comes back and it changes the game a little bit for the scheme a little bit for the Ravens, Marquise Brown is the number 1, and he's getting the targets. I mean, Mark Andrews isn't doing shit. So
no, he's not. And Lamar Jackson, 16 carry, 107 yards, 2 touchdowns. Freak, bro. Freak,
wow, man. Bro. But. That was a game.
Yeah, but he needs to throw the ball better, though. He does need to throw the ball better.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to be making that leap as a passer.
No, but I think that Mark Andrews is the biggest disappointment here, though, man. The Twitter darling. But we already spoke about that.
Yeah, I agree, man. Well, that's it, bro. That's it for the show, man.
All right, man. We got through.
Yes, sir, man. We appreciate everybody listening. It was a good deal breaking down these games, looking over at these players, their values, and we'll be back at it again next week, man.
Yeah, man. Stay tuned. Week 3 coming up. We're gonna have some goodies, man. Hopefully, these 1:00 games this week will be better than the ones from this week. Jeez, they were bad.
For sure, bro. Take it easy, brother. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody. Have a good night. God bless.